So obviously I filled up this bowl of soup, but this is the leftover soup. So this is at least 2 more bowls worth. So have seconds, enjoy yourself. Good morning, it is Sunday. It is the beginning of day 4 of eating for $5 a day or $35 a week from Dollar Tree. And I thought it would be really helpful to start you guys off with a visual of how much food I currently have left. So this is quite a lot, isn't it? I mean, we're halfway through the week at this point, or after today we'll technically be over the halfway point, and I still have a good bit of food left. So over here, I'm just gonna start and work my way across. I still have pretty much my whole bottle of soy sauce, and you could roll that over into next week. This is the leftover of my fried rice from yesterday, and of course the leftover of my rice and vegetable mixture, so move that out of the way. My vegetables, I still pretty much have a half a bag of each, mixed vegetable seasoning blend and green beans. I also have a good bit of my diced tomatoes and green chilies. This is my Alfredo sauce. These are both pasta sauce here. I have a good bit of the tea bag still left. Half a block of mozzarella cheese, probably like 2/3 of my bag of corn tortillas, 1 single Buddy bar because I had one last night before bed. I have both of my containers of black beans that are cooked and prepped. We also have an entirely unopened box of pancake mix, but we're going to be digging into that today. The Sonic Jello, 2 packets of taco seasoning, 2 bags of popcorn, good bit of my vegetable bouillon powder. We have a good bit of the rice. I still have the beef patties. I'm probably going to be using those for dinner tonight. Half a loaf of garlic bread, unopened hazelnut spread. We'll also be using that today. And then probably 2/3 of my box of penne pasta. So I haven't really put that much of a dent in the food that I purchased earlier this week. So for breakfast this morning, we are just going to be making pancakes. I'm going to be using my pancake mix and my hazelnut spread. The hazelnut spread will act in place of syrup, essentially, because Dollar Tree syrup is not very good. It is technically a diet syrup or a low-carb syrup. I'm hesitant to say low-carb. It is a 5 grams of sugar per serving syrup, so it is technically a diet syrup, despite the fact that it's not really labeled as such. So instead of syrup, I've been using hazelnut spread, and this stuff is really good. So let's make some pancakes. To just make pancakes for me, I'm probably going to be using about 3/4 of a cup of this pancake mix. Now, today's Sunday and tomorrow is obviously the start of the work week. So you have a couple of options here. You can go ahead and prepare the entire bag of pancake mix. It's 3 cups of mix, and go ahead and cook your pancakes like normal. From there, you can put them on a baking sheet and freeze them, and then throughout the work week, you can just microwave them. You can buy frozen pancakes, you can freeze pancakes. That's what I always say. If you can buy it frozen, you can freeze it. Another option is something I saw online, which was freezing the mixed pancake batter in ice cube trays, and then in the morning you just throw a couple of these on a skillet on low heat and let them kind of cook and thaw out at the same time. I feel like that's more of a time-saving hack if you're making the pancake mix from scratch as opposed to using a pre-made mix, because it would take me just as much time to make the pre-made mix as it would for this to kind of thaw out and cook. But like I said, if you're short on time in the morning, make your pancakes in advance and freeze them. You can do the same with waffles, and you will have an easy, just throw it in the microwave breakfast in the morning. So we got off on a bit of a tangent there, but I've got 3/4 of a cup of mix, and I'm gonna add about half a cup of water. I may add more water. And that actually looks like the perfect consistency to me, so let's head on over to the skillet. Y'all like my big old pancake skillet? I mostly use this to make things like pancakes and grilled cheeses when I can make them in like a larger quantity, especially when the stepkids are here to visit. But I'm gonna go ahead and brush this with some oil. It is a non-stick, so I guess technically I don't have to do that, but I like to. I just feel like it gives me peace of mind. And then we are going to portion out our pancakes using 1/4 cups per pancake. So we should get about 3, maybe 4 of these. Pancake flipping time. Y'all ready for this? There we go. So if you're not using a fish spatula to flip your pancakes, you're missing out, because it's like the perfect tool for flipping pretty much anything. Kind of got that one in the wrong spot. Oh well. Let's see if I can get into this one. There we go. I can push that one out of the way. And there we go. So I'll just let these finish up for another couple minutes and then we're ready to have our pancakes. So I know I said I'm not very much of a sweet breakfast person, but I'm so excited for this. And you can warm up the hazelnut syrup or the hazelnut spread like I did here. I just warmed it up in the microwave to make it more pourable like a syrup. And it makes your pancakes so pretty. You can just kind of drizzle it on there. That looks good. So this is obviously not my first time trying this because I have mentioned this combination in a video in the past, and of course I'm gonna lick the hazelnut spread off my spoon. Breakfast of champions right here. Let's go ahead and dig into our pancakes. Sweet breakfast for the win today. This is gonna be so fun, but it's 2 o'clock. I just now finished breakfast, and the reason is that 4 pancakes is too many pancakes for me to eat in a single serving. So I have a tendency to not want to waste food to the degree that I will eat it now, set it on the counter, and come back to it like an hour or 2 later when I'm hungry again, and I'll just kind of munch on it throughout the day. And so that's kind of what I do. But since I don't really have a meal to cook right now, later on I'll probably reheat the fried rice. I thought we could have some fun and make a Dollar Tree doggy sensory toy. That way I can introduce you to my pups in like a kind of fun way. So I actually just got back from Dollar Tree. I picked up 2 of these kitchen towels. I had hoped to find a 2-pack, but I couldn't. If you can find a 2-pack, or, well, I mean, this is only if you have 2 dogs. I have 2 dogs. So I got 2 kitchen towels, and then I got some of these canine carryouts in these little taco minis because I thought they would really enjoy that. All right, so these are super easy. I got the idea off of TikTok, to be fair, and I tried it with my dogs the other day, and they absolutely had so much fun with it, and they were exhausted at the end, so I can vouch that it works. When I did it the other day, I just did it with an old cut-up t-shirt, so that's also an option. My doggies are not very patient doggies, meaning that, you know, they're not as gentle as some other people's dogs are with this that I've seen on the internet, but they have a tendency to kind of rip them to shreds. And so in this case, you know, I'm kind of using a Dollar Tree rag, and so that's fine. I'm gonna put a few treats on each rag. Let's see, I'm not sure how many this comes with, and actually I'm gonna break these in half because I feel like that's gonna be too many. I know they're not technically supposed to have that many. So if I break each one in half, and then we can kind of spread them out along, I'll probably do 4 per row. And I'll do 4 rows. So they'll each get 4 total of these little tacos. Wait, 8 total of these little tacos. And then you kind of roll it up. Most of the videos I saw rolled it. I actually kind of try to shift them a little bit so they're not all in one spot. The videos I saw rolled it in one direction and also in the opposite direction. Okay, it's like that. So you end up with like a little, I don't know what this shape would be called. But then you tie it. Oh, their food's going off. 1 second. We have the dogs on like an automatic feeder, and it goes off at specific times of the day, which sometimes interrupts what I'm in the middle of doing, so I'm sorry. But I went ahead and tied this in a knot. I'm gonna repeat the process with the other rag. You end up with this kind of log shape, and then you just tie it in a knot, and like not like a super duper tight knot. You want it to be kind of loose so that they can kind of get it undone themselves. But this is what you end up with, and let's go give it to the doggies. I'm sorry if this is shaky. I don't really have the best coordination, but let's grab our little sensory toys. Do you guys want them? Okay, so this one right here, this is River. She is my oldest, and she is a pain in the butt, but she's very food motivated. So she will rip this to shreds in like a few seconds. And then this little boy, my handsome man, this is Loki. You see his little ears popping up in videos every once in a while. He's got the 2 different colored eyes, and he is a Shepherd Husky mix. She is a lab mix, and I don't really know what else she is. But they're excited for these, so I'm gonna pass them along. Hey, patience. All right, you get one. Okay, and you get one. And I'm gonna try to separate them a little bit, because I don't really like them both being in the same kind of general vicinity of each other as they play with their toys. But apparently the process of just kind of sniffing at this and trying to pull it apart is enough to exhaust them. So you can see she's already going ham at hers, and she's gonna rip it to shreds. And he's a little bit more patient, but he will also put holes in it. So I'm not sure if these rags will hold up, but I guess we shall see. The second rose bush is officially trimmed. The second rose bush is officially trimmed. I'm gonna have my leftover fried rice from yesterday. That will be my lunch for today. I say lunch, but it is currently almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah. So I think we're actually gonna make this cherry limeade Sonic Jello and see how this turns out. I might not be able to eat it tonight because it needs to chill and set up in the fridge, but let's go ahead and get it started. I'm also gonna snack on some of these spicy Nacho Fieras while I make my Jello. That should be good. 1.5 cups of boiling water. And we're gonna add our packet of Jello to that, or gelatin, because it's not Jello. Oh, that smells good. I just got a really good lungful of that. I'm trying to open it up. But it smells fantastic. I've also noticed that I say fantastic a lot. My bad. Probably because I watched a lot of Doctor Who. And then it says to stir until dissolved for about 2 minutes. I don't really think it takes 2 minutes to dissolve Jello in boiling water. I have a big old bucket of ice water here, and I'm gonna add 1.5 cups. And then stir until the ice is melted. Lid goes on, and that goes in the fridge to set. It is 7:30, it's now dinner time, and I'm ready to get started. I want to make something like this because this is beautiful, and I'm not sure if what I'm gonna make is going to look like that because, you know, I'm like looking through the ingredients and I'm like, okay, well, you know, it calls for meatballs, but I still have the beef patties in the fridge. It calls for like onions and pepper and garlic and stuff like that. I've got the frozen seasoning blend. Then I've got pasta sauce in the fridge. It calls for broth, which I have bouillon powder. It calls for some diced tomatoes. I still have some Rotel, although that might make it a little on the spicy side. And then it calls for cream, which I have Alfredo sauce. So I'm thinking we can make this work. And then of course I have garlic bread in the freezer that I can have on the side. So let's try to make this beautiful meatball soup. But it's not gonna be meatball soup because I'm not gonna make meatballs. But yeah, let's make some soup. Okay, so I've got my pot preheated and I've got my beef patties. These are thawed. And I'm gonna start by browning these up. So I know the beef patties are probably one of the more questionable Dollar Tree ingredients that I use, and I totally understand why people are hesitant to use them. They are a little on the salty side, and so I have learned to work around that by rinsing them really well in cold water after they've been browned, so that's what I'm going to do today as well. Other than the fact that they're salty, they're really not that bad. As far as like texture goes, they kind of have like that texture of like soy meat, essentially. Like that textured vegetable protein, and it does have some of that in it, which could explain some of the texture. And then, so like I said, they're not bad. Obviously, if you're following this and you don't feel comfortable using them, you can just use regular ground beef. I have no problem with them. I've been using them for a very long time. The first time I tried them was when I made that Taco Bell Mexican pizza, and that was, you know, a good 1.5 years ago, and I've been using them ever since, and I haven't really had any issues. But like I said, like, feel free to use regular ground beef if you want to follow the same recipe. I'm just going to brown this up, and then I'm going to rinse it really well in cold water. Now that my beef is browned and drained, I have a splash of oil in here, and I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of my frozen seasoning blend. Once this is starting to get some good color on it, I can add back in my beef. I'm also going to add 6 cups of water. along with my pasta sauce. This was about half of the can of pasta sauce from earlier. I used a little bit of it when I made the garlic bread pizza, and then I split the rest of it in half. If you were doing something similar, you would use about half the can or a little over a cup of the pasta sauce. And we need to season this with our bouillon powder. So since we have 6 cups of water, we need about 6 teaspoons of bouillon powder. 3, 4, 5, 6. We can always add more later if we need some extra seasoning. And I did decide that I wanted a little bit of extra greenery and some extra vegetables, so I finally diced about a cup of my frozen green beans. The recipe that I was following called for spinach, but I don't have any spinach, so I'm just going to use green beans. I also have mixed vegetables that I could have used, but I like green beans, so I'm going to use that. And I'm also going to go ahead and season this pretty liberally with some pepper. I'm not going to add any salt until the end because I don't know how much I'm going to need. And then I am just going to let this come up to a boil. So I am kind of more or less following a recipe here with the ingredients that I currently have on hand. So it's going to bring this up to a boil and then simmer it uncovered for 15 minutes. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit and just let this kind of sit to condense down some of those flavors. Right now that it has simmered for about 15 minutes, I'm going to stir in 1 cup of my penne pasta, a couple of stragglers, and I am going to continue to let this simmer for about 10 minutes or so, 10 to 12 minutes until the pasta is cooked through. Just wanted to note, if you're going to be baking garlic bread, now is your time to throw that in the oven. My pasta is cooked, and now kind of moment of truth. This is the last ingredient I'm going to be adding, and this is the rest of the Alfredo sauce from the smoked sausage Alfredo pasta. And hopefully we get that beautiful, like, creamy orangey color. Okay, well, it's not as creamy as the picture that I used as my reference, but you know what? It's still creamy. It's a nice opaque color. Let's give it a taste and see if we need to add any seasonings to it. I'm just gonna try some of the broth. I'm gonna add a little bit more pepper because to me you can't go wrong with extra pepper. And I may add just a smidge more of that vegetable bouillon powder just because I really like this stuff. I feel like it gives things a lot of depth and makes them taste more like homemade. Maybe just 1 extra teaspoon because this stuff is quite salty, so I am a little bit careful as to how much I add. But let me stir that in and see how we are. But otherwise, the broth on this is very good. I think if I had, you know, obviously if I had the ability to use whatever was in my pantry, I would add some Italian seasoning to this, maybe some extra oregano or something like that. But as it stands, I am totally fine with how it is. I'm just giving you suggestions in the event that you have some of these ingredients and you can add them. Perfect. Okay, let's go and serve this up. So this is quite a full and almost ridiculously sized amount of garlic bread. I'm obviously only going to be using half today, and I will save the other half for my lunch tomorrow. All right, would you take a look at that? That is a pretty full meal, I would say. And we're kind of just at this point using scraps of things to make our food. So of course I have my good old Arnold Palmer. You guys have been trekking along with me on my journey of like perfecting the tea. But I think we've got it down. Let's go ahead and try some of the soup. I have a little bit of everything. Some pasta, some beef, some vegetables, and some broth. If you had some Parmesan cheese too, I feel like that would be really good too. I love a good bowl of hot soup. I do. Soup to me is not the most particularly filling meal. However, when you pair it with something like garlic bread, the filling factor definitely goes up quite a bit for me. And I like my garlic bread more chewy than I do crispy. I'm sorry, I'm just over here like kind of pigging out. This is gonna be a fantastic dinner. I did check on the Jello. It is not ready yet, so unfortunately that will have to be until tomorrow. dinner is ready. I'm about to go chill and eat. The couch is still my home. What can I say? I am a couch potato. So I will see you guys again tomorrow morning, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. There's one more thing. So obviously I filled up this bowl of soup, but this is the leftover soup. So this is at least 2 more bowls worth. So have seconds, enjoy yourself.